From healthcare partners, doctors, and medical staff, we wish all of you a happy holidays.
Happy holidays!
This portion of the news is brought to you by Albertsons. You're in for something fresh.
And welcome back to News 46. There are about 14 million cancer survivors living in the United States. More than 1.6 million patients are diagnosed with cancer every year. And the cost of cancer care rose from $72 billion in 2004 to $125 billion in 2010. With skyrocketing costs and a doctor shortage, many say we are in a cancer crisis. Marty Saul examines a new report that offers solutions to a system in trouble.
This health tip is brought to you by
Desert View Hospital and Mountain Valley Physicians Group. Don't put your health on hold. We have time for you. Call us to schedule your appointment. 775-751-7100.
Dikla Benzivi has lived with stage 4 breast cancer for 11 years and has been on different combinations of 11 different drugs.
It's been a very difficult road. It's a roller coaster ride.
She's had to navigate her way through a complicated health system.
And I felt like different specialists weren't communicating with one another.
UCLA oncologist Patricia Gans says we are in a cancer crisis.
Cancer is so complicated because it's just not over when it's over.
By 2030, experts expect a 45% increase in the number of cancer patients, but a decrease in doctors. In a recent Institute of Medicine report, Gans says we can improve cancer care by training medical personnel to work as a team, stopping unnecessary tests and treatments, improving information technology, offering affordable care, and informing patients about their treatment options.
We need to explain those to patients, and they need to tell us honestly what they do and do not want to have done to them.
The report says patients should ask, what's my life expectancy? What is the likelihood of a cure? If I can't be cured, will I live longer with treatment? What are my options if I don't want treatment? Will the treatment make me feel better or worse? As a patient, Dikla would like to see a coordinated care system.
Meaning, when we are diagnosed, there is a team working with us, for us.
I'm Marty Salt reporting.
Dikla's care runs about $200,000 per year. She has insurance, but still pays about $6,000 to $7,000 in out-of-pocket cost. A prompt man charged with possessing child pornography on his home computer last year will have his case continued in district court. James Marshall, who was arrested on March 28th of 2012, appeared in Justice Court last week for a preliminary hearing on charges of possession of child pornography. The Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force informed the Nye County Sheriff's Office that pornography had allegedly been downloaded onto Marshall's computer's IP address. Marshall was accused of attempting to destroy that evidence when detectives conducted a search of the home. He and his wife were both taken into custody. An agreement was reached this past week between Clark County and Nye counties for autopsy services. The Nye County Board of Commissioners voted unanimously to approve a memorandum of understanding with the Clark County Office of the Coroner Medical Examiner. Under the terms of the agreement, after the delivery of an individual who dies in Nye County, the Clark County Coroner will provide their services for a fee of $2,500 per autopsy and external examination services at $400 per exam. The Nye County Sheriff's Office has stated that this is a savings to the county. Well, he's only 16 years old, but has already written his first book and has even conducted a real estate deal. He considers himself a hard money lender who is now on a book tour. Houston Gunn stopped by the KPVM TV studios Friday night to tell us about his book, Schooled for Success. How old are you? Let's start out with that.
I'm 16 years old.
Where are you from?
I'm originally from the Seattle, Washington area, but actually at the end of my freshman year, I ended up moving down to Nashville with my family for music because I'm also a musician.
What do you play?
I play guitar, bass, mandolin, fiddle, and I'm a singer-songwriter.
Wow. Really ambitious because you've also written a book. Tell me about that.
Well, yes, I've written the book, Schooled for Success, How I Plan to Graduate from High School a Millionaire. And it shares my story of how I've been an entrepreneur since preschool. And it's meant to inspire, educate, and excite entrepreneurship and youth and future generations. And also in the book, I'm honored to say there's an interview and an endorsement from Donald Trump.
So, if you've been an entrepreneur since preschool, how did you start? What were you doing in preschool?
Well, I was very lucky that thanks to my mom, she got me involved in different modeling and TV commercials. So I started out doing different print modeling and TV commercials. Mm-hmm. And when I was in 6th grade, I landed a big-time car commercial. And through the residual income from that and everything else I've done, when I was in 7th grade, I attended my first real estate seminar. And then at the age of 13, I did my first real estate deal.
What did you do for a real estate deal?
For my first real estate deal, I originally approached my parents and asked them if I could loan them money. But they told me they didn't want me to loan them money. But they said I could become a partner on their property. So that I did, and when that deal was all said and done, I decided I just wanted to be a lender. So I did my first private money loan at age 13 as well.
What do you think has encouraged you to become like this, where you are no holds bar, where you're going to go for it? Is it something in your personality, or is it something that your parents have taught you?
I guess I've always been around the world of entrepreneurs because my parents were entrepreneurs, and my mom actually opened a dance studio when she was 17, so I guess I beat her out though, being 16. And then my grandma was even an entrepreneur. So I guess it kind of runs in the family, and I've kind of had that influence on my life really heavily. But also, even through attending different seminars and business conferences, I've learned that you always got to take action, and you can't be afraid to ask.
Taking action, that's something that's really key, isn't it? Actually taking charge of your own life and your own future and where you're going.
Yes, and especially with being an entrepreneur, because with being an entrepreneur, there's always incredibly high risk compared to working at a job. But you always got to take action to make sure whatever you do doesn't fail. Because if you fail, it always has a higher risk against you than it does other people.
Your book is obviously available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, right?
Yes, and it's also available on my website, houstongun.com.
And so everybody can go to your website, find out all about you, even contact you.
Yes, there's even a contact box where you can send me a question or anything, or you could send me a testimonial if you've read the book, which I would much appreciate.
Thanks so much for Houston coming all the way in from Tennessee here on his book tour. And if you'd like to see the whole Houston Gun interview, you can go to KPVM's YouTube page. When we come back from this break, Pahrump Valley Farm Rescue will tell you more about fire safety tips for winter. Don't go anywhere.
Today's news is brought to you in part by Dr. George Leeks, Pahrump's optometrist since 1990, offering full-spectrum eye care for children and adults. Call today, 727-8300.
And welcome back. Pahrump Valley Farm Rescue Chief Scott Lewis continues in part 2 of our series with some fire safety tips during the winter months. Let's talk a little bit about space heaters. We've had some instances where people have lost their homes because of space heaters. What should you do?
Space heaters probably number 2 on the list, especially in the winter months, obviously. But space heaters should be 3 feet apart from any material that is combustible or can catch fire, simply stated. Never leave them unattended. Never ever use the kerosene type products that we used to see years ago. Electric space heaters, make sure they're a good foundation. No clothes are placed on top of them. If you're going to have them on the different settings, make sure that it is in a safe proximity to anything else. Never leave in the area of pets and children. And if you leave the room, turn the device off.
Overloading a circuit or an outlet.
That was the next part of it. Even if you were to leave the room, one of the best things you can do is actually unplug the device. That way, if there's a mechanical failure within the switch or such, then you won't have that secondary fire. Never overload. Make sure that the outlets can accommodate the amperage requirements for the space heater. We have a tendency to see whether it be strip outlets or other type of multi-plug adapters where you have high draw appliances placed in them and you're overloading the circuit, which then you can actually have an electrical fire within the house.
Let's talk about chimneys. A lot of people are using them right now. Should you have them cleaned? How do you have them cleaned? And what's the right proper kind of maintenance for them so that they don't catch fire? And tell people how they catch fire.
Well, first of all, they catch fire for a number of reasons. Number one, birds can have a tendency to build nests in there. If the top end cap doesn't have a protective cover and allows things like that to get into the flue pipe or the smoke pipe. Number two is burning material, byproducts of combustion, can accumulate on the inside of those pipes over a period of time. So therefore, in the next season, When you start a fire, that material is dried out some. It can actually set the smoke pipe on fire inside. One of the big things that we run into on a regular basis is people not opening the flue correctly, maybe not opening it at all. Smoke condition builds, it fills the house quickly. They try and again pour water on it, and they get splash burns, things like that. So one of the best things we could do is, just like anything else, have your maintenance done on an annual basis. Right before, in like late fall, when you're about to use those, whether it be a potbelly stove or a fireplace, make sure you have someone come in, do a visual check on it, clean it out. Chimney sweeps are what they're called, and there are some people that are available to do that. And they go up on the roof, they'll check the area out, and just make sure that you're operating safely when you're ready to start burning.
And burning items in your fireplace that are recommended and not recommended.
You know, it's such a great point, because recently we had a fire where they were burning household trash in the fireplace. That is totally inappropriate. Number one, is not the type of material that you should be burning there. Number two is those loose papers and such can actually come out and then set nearby carpet and such on fire. You want to use hardwoods. Duraflame logs, you know, or products like that, or the equivalent, can be okay. But they too, everything that we burn in there is going to send that material up. So we want to come back to the chimney sweep, and never burn anything that hardwoods or a material that's designed to be placed in a stove or a fireplace.
It can also be unhealthy for you, right, to burn materials like garbage.
It's absolutely the worst case scenario, yeah, in so many different ways.
A judge says she will okay plans for owners of the city center development to demolish a flawed half-built hotel tower on the Las Vegas Strip unless insurers can show they need more time to investigate. A Clark County District Judge said she would give the insurer FM Global 1 week to explain its need to delay the demolition of the Harmon Tower. FM Global wrote the insurance policy covering the Harmon's construction and is investigating City Center's $393.8 million claim for a total loss. The Harmon was supposed to be a 48-story component of the glittery $8.5 billion City Center project that opened in December of 2009. Here's Angela Miles with today's First Business Brief.
This is the First Business Brief for Monday, December 9th. I'm Angela Miles. The city of Los Angeles is suing Wells Fargo and Citibank for losses during the housing crash. The lawsuit blames the banks for discriminatory mortgage lending that led to foreclosures in minority communities. Both banks called the lawsuit baseless. Kelley Blue Book is out with its list of cars with the best resale values for 2014. Ranking at the top, the Toyota FJ Cruiser, followed by the Toyota Tacoma, Jeep Wrangler, Toyota 4Runner, and Chevrolet Corvette. And a genetic testing company will no longer sell certain test kits. Online company 23andMe will suspend the sale of health-related genetic tests to comply with the U.S. Food and Drug Administration's orders. The FDA warns that erroneous results could cause customers to seek unnecessary or ineffective medical care. That's the First Business Brief. I'm Angela Miles.
Thanks so much, Angela. When we come back from this break, we'll have your weather with Noah Began and some announcements, and you might want to get a phone close to you. Stay tuned.